Let's talk about what context is. In the first versions of this course, I didn't teach context at all because it used to be an unstable API. With version 4 of this course, it landed as a stable API, and so it's actually now something that you might want to use sometimes. So let's talk about why it could potentially be useful. Sometimes you have like global application state, and a really good example of this would be something like user login information, right? So maybe you are Netflix.com, and as a user navigates from route to route to route, every single page is going to use pieces of that user's data, right? You should display the email here, you show them their user preferences over here, you show them like all these information that you would get from the user logging in. Right now, with all the tools that I've shown you, what you would do is you'd put all that information in app.js and you would just pass it into every single child, right? And you would kind of have this problem we would call prop drilling, where you would have to take the property from the parent, pass it into the child, take the prop from the parent, pass it into the child, so on and so forth down multiple levels, right? It's annoying. It's also useful because you can see the flow of data through your application, right? But it's annoying to have to do it everywhere for something like user data, right? Because every part of your application is going to touch your user data. Do you kind of get where this is the problem? Where we have been solving that is using Redux historically, right? Redux is typically you have this like data store on the side, and you feed all the information into the data store, and then every part of your application can read from the Redux store. Redux is hard. We'll actually go over it in intermediate React, but it's hard and often overkill for these sort of things, right? There's another thing that's new to React called context that you can use, that you can load these into basically a data store that your entire React application can use and update. But just know that's kind of a double-edged sword, right? You're taking out the advantage of React of being explicit, and now everything kind of has implicit dependencies, right? It's hard. So let's go take a look at how you do that. So I want you to make a new file here, and I want you to call it themecontext.js. Okay, going to be short and sweet here. We're going to make a theme for our application. So import create context from React. We're going to say const theme context equals react.create context. And we're going to give it a hook-like shape, right? Because we're going to actually stick a hook inside of here. But just so you know, you can stick anything in context. It can be an object, it can be function, it can be a string, a number, whatever you want. But we're actually going to literally stick a hook in there. So we're going to put green, or whatever your favorite CSS named color is, and a function. Now, why did I give this empty function? This is actually just so it's a placeholder, so it will use this particular function if it has no provider above it, but this should never happen. So this is actually more just NoteSphere's future self. This is what this looks like, right? And this is what a hook looks like, right? It has the state and it has an updater. In this case, the updater doesn't do anything, so we just give it an empty function. Make sense? Oh, and we don't want React.create context. You just want create context like that. Okay, and then down here at the bottom, just export default theme context. So now we've created the context. Now we're going to go use it inside of our app.js. Okay, inside of app.js, we want you to import theme context from /theme context. Here inside of app, we're going to create, we also need use state from React. So get use state from up here. Use state. And we're going to say const theme hook equals use state, and we have to give it some default values. So just to show you that the default value is different, I'm going to put dark blue in here. Now, remember, we normally have been doing color and set color here like this, right, with hooks, if you remember from earlier in the course. But right now we're just going to grab the whole array and call it theme hook. And then I'm going to wrap everything inside of here, inside of strict mode here, theme context, and then you say value equals theme hook. So now what we've done here, sorry, you have to do theme context on both these .provider. Yep. So on line 22 and line 12 there, you have to do theme context .provider. So what we've done here is now everything inside of here has available as a global app state this theme hook. Now, I could have two different theme hook providers, right? And I could have search params and details have different providers, and I could have this value be different things. So there's actually a lot of flexibility that you can do with context, and I just never use it. So the only thing that I find useful is providing like the entire application with global application state, but there is some fanciness that you can do.